The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and the Tech Insider, David White.
Good afternoon, traders. It is Wednesday, March 7th. And you know what today is? It is International Cereal Day. W.K. Kellogg was born, his mother actually bore him this day in 1860. And we have him to, just as a prodigy of my honey oat cereal, Cheerios. Probably my favorite cereal. Always love it. But Mr. Kellogg was born this day, 150 years ago? 152? Whew. Hard to think that cereal's been around that long. Always a great day to start off with a little bowl of cereal. My favorite was always sliced bananas on Rice Krispies. I just like the little sound of the Krispies. Nothing else really makes a sound. But you don't see those advertised much anymore. I don't know why that is. You see a lot of other cereals, mostly with huge amounts of sugar already in them. But I was always partial to a really nice, well-developed banana on Rice Krispies. That was always my favorite as a kid. Don't eat much cereal these days, actually, a lot more oatmeal. But again, that's another cereal that I think, was that Kellogg's? Had the old-looking guy that kind of looked like Washington on the front of it. I don't spend that much time paying attention to that. But yeah, I know everybody loves their cereal. On my radar today, we had the Apple HD rollout. Actually, they still haven't given it a name, at least as of about 15 minutes ago. Fairly interesting. Probably the only big deal. Everything else we've already talked about on this show. Quad-core processor, new generation battery, the Retina display, which is going to be 264 dots per inch. If anybody's ever used a laser printer, they always knew that approximately about 300 dots per inch was the idea of making characters that were indistinguishable from the original typewriters, so that it looked like it was typewritten. But actually, when you add color into it, you can get by with just a little bit less than that. But 264 dots per inch, actually 4 times the actual memory it takes to actually show the same image full screen on the new product. My initial reaction was why it's a great product. If you're actually using this thing on a LTE system or a 4G system, for all the things they're talking about using it for, watching movies in HD, this thing's going to cost you an absolute small fortune if you're actually watching things in this resolution or in full resolution. I have a feeling that we're getting ready to hit kind of a barrier where the companies like AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, that are all pushing these wonderful products aren't going to make and start seeing people have $100 data feed per month with all the new plans they've been coming on. This thing is going to be a huge data hog. If you're watching a movie in HD, it's nothing to have a movie go 2.5, 3 gigabytes. My initial reaction is, yeah, it's cool. One big feature I was looking for that they left out of it was actually a response to the actual display, which is something Apple's been working on for a while. It's if you're trying to do something like use it for a remote control to control your iTV, your Apple TV, there's just nothing like pushing a button and knowing, you can look at the screen and see what's happening. You always have to have that interaction with something that has no feedback. That's one of the things that that Apple is very well known to be working on, and that is some kind of tactical feedback on their display, and apparently nothing's shown on it. going to, if you watch an intraday chart of it, and I probably should have, if I would have had time, but I left something in my car. I had to run back down to the parking garage and pick it up. But if you look at the intraday price, when they announced the price, it took a couple dollar hit, and then as they rolled out the rest of it, Apple kind of rolled over. And the reason why is that they didn't like the same price for the base model coming in at $499. The reason why is they already know that this display and some of the components in it are going to be a little bit more expensive, which means that the margins on Apple's product are going to be a little lower. I think they've seen what happened to their market in the iPhone business, especially with the leaving the door open and the wrong dog coming home, that they're now really looking at holding the tablet market as much as they can. And yes, they can make a short-term victory by keeping higher margins, but more important to Apple this time is not letting a lot of people come back in and basically cut them on prices. It's going to be very hard for people to actually compete with this higher price product at the same price that it used to be. But a lot of people were looking for much higher margins than Apple, and I think that they'll probably do it, but it will be on volume, not on straight margins this time, because it's going to be very hard to compete with this with other manufacturers. I think the next real big competition for this product will probably be late summer, and that will be Samsung with their new flexible displays. Imagine something as thin and lightweight. I think the new Apple, even though they haven't given it a name, a lot of people calling it Apple HD, it's about a pound, 1.2 pounds, I think is what I heard. And why it's very light, supposedly it's going to have 10 hours of useful life. That is probably about twice of what it truly would ever get. That's if you used it optimally, which people do not. Yeah, just all companies kind of tell a big fib about those kind of things, but probably 5 or 6 hours, probably cut at least 20% off of that if you're using the LTE chip for 4G data access. But it's going to be tough. But I think the next real competition, and Apple already knows it, is going to be these graphene displays from Samsung. Certainly going to be able to get the same kind of resolution that Apple has, but they'll be about 6 months after it. It's supposed to start shipping somewhere around April 15th, April 18th of next month. So we've got about 45 days before shipping. They were already taking orders for it, and it didn't even have an Apple III or an Apple HD. They were just taking orders when I checked on the website for it already. $499, not a bad price, up to about $750 with the LTE and a contract with the 32 and 64 gigabyte versions on it. All in all, I think if you cut it down, LTE or 4G for those other people that like to terminate the way that it speaks for high-speed access. Yeah, I think it's been leaked so much that there's probably not a lot to know about it. That they were keeping the price the same is probably the biggest issue, and why we're off $6 on Apple right now, $607, $524.14 for the last tick. So I'd be watching. Today is options expiration delta neutral day, although I suspect a lot of that actually happened yesterday with 1 day a week ago. With us being off, it looks like they probably went delta neutral late yesterday afternoon for a lot of these folks that I was expecting a bounce. I wrote about it in my newsletter yesterday afternoon that by early afternoon we were probably going to have a nice little pop out of this market. It happened right at the get-go and the open this morning, although we had a little attempt to go blow it back down. Only 4.1 billion shares yesterday, and all the yelling and screaming and turmoil of the end of the world in the stock market just really couldn't get any kind of volume. I continue to think that until we get about 5.5 or 6 billion shares on the consolidated tape on 1 day, either up or down, we're in some kind of higher trading range. That trading range right now is 1340 on the S&P to 1375. And we could bounce around here for a while until this thing makes up its mind. Certainly there was no volume at the top, but at the same time had every opportunity today to have a continuation day, and started seeing a lot of the stocks that have been selling off for a while already hitting lows on lighter volume into yesterday. In fact, I put a lot of those in my newsletter today. We're going to probably look at a few of them. A few of those were banking stocks that I had in this morning's newsletter, especially regional bankers that had made fairly decent lows on lighter volume. And it probably got a nice little bounce. We'll take a look at them a little bit. Probably the market's not going to have a huge move before Friday's non-farm payroll and unemployment numbers. I can imagine that we probably have maybe a little bit, maybe 10 points higher possible between now and Friday morning, but not expecting a huge move in this marketplace until those numbers come out Friday. Many of the small cap stocks are now at support. When I've gone back and looked at previous rallies in the marketplace, a lot of these small caps started selling off about 2-3 weeks ago, making me think that the market was going to, as far as the broad indexes, roll over. We kind of had it all in 1 or 2 days. But now many of those small cap stocks, and I had a bunch of them in the newsletter this morning, are at support and actually don't look all that bad. So maybe we'll look at a few of those today. Applications for U.S. home mortgages did dip. And I think that we had, since the weather was so good in January and February, we saw a lot of people, especially in northern states, go and apply for applications for mortgages. A lot of those were refis. So now that we've gotten through that, not surprising that we're seeing a dip in those applications for new mortgages. We talked a little bit about Yelp. Yelp is a new IPO. I said how much I pretty much hated it last week. It did come out on Friday. This is a short-term hourly chart on it. Pretty much had a nice wide range when it did come out. It's done nothing but sell off. Another one of these IPOs that hasn't made money since 2004, and I continue to think that for the vast majority right now, maybe 98% of these IPOs, they're pretty much totally worthless. Maybe in a year when all the stocks come out and all the brouhaha is over, these things may be worth trading. But right now, just yet another IPO with a sliver deal that I'm going to have to wait 6 months for the lockup to come out on. And then even after that, maybe a couple more months before they're actually all the stock is available and they're worth trading. But I don't know. I'm hoping that one of these days we're going to find something really decent and not just one of these sliver deals. Of course, the big mama of all mama sliver deals is coming out with Facebook here in a couple months. We'll be back.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today, click Investment Newsletters, and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments. And whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you seek to maximize your returns. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of The Money Masters with Tom O'Brien, seen daily at TFNN.com, author of Mastering Probabilities, a daily investment and trading newsletter, and teacher of The Money Game. Studies show that 3 out of 5 people are afraid for their life in trading these markets, and the number one reason given is fear of loss. Look, fear stands for false evidence appearing real, and the money game proves it. Lesson number 1, don't risk more than 1% of your trading capital on any trade. Why, you ask? Because 35 trades in a row where you risk 50 cents and make $1 are all you need to double your trading capital, versus the 230 losing trades in a row you would need to bring your balance to $100. Let me teach you more about the money game risk-free for 30 days. Go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, for your 30-day risk-free trial. You were born to be a money master, and I'll teach you how.
Would you like to discover the next great tech stock? David White, TFNN's technology guru, has just launched his new newsletter, The Technology Insider. In his newsletter, David will be looking for those shining stars that may turn into the next Apple, Microsoft, or Cisco. David combines his technology background as a software programmer with his market skills as a successful professional trader to give you this unique newsletter. We're on the verge of the next great tech run. With the Technology Insider, you'll be in front of the run-up and not lagging behind. David is developing a long-term investment portfolio. Therefore, we're only offering the Technology Insider as an annual subscription with a remarkable price of only $395. That's right, for a little over $1 a day, you'll receive the fundamental technology wisdom and technical trading skills of the Technology Insider David White. What are you waiting for? Go to the front of TFNN.com, click on the link on the front page, sign up for your 2-week free trial, and become a Technology Insider today.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
I had a pretty good question in the den, and that was, why doesn't the new iPad come out with Siri? And I heard some discussions about this this morning before the announcement, but my understanding is, at least from the scuttlebutt, is that Nuance, who writes Siri and all the code, wanted a ton of money from Apple to actually license it on the iPad, or at least on this new iPad. And so they may still be negotiating with them, but Apple is also trying to work with another company that does similar stuff. They wrote one for the Android system called EVI. I actually have that on my phone. And it actually works pretty good. In fact, there's some things that EVI does better than Siri, especially when you want to get links where Siri, if you ask about it something, it really won't give you links to web pages you want to go to, which is one of the things that Apple really wanted to work on in the next version. And I'm not exactly sure if they're getting along with Nuance, who owns Siri. What is it? N-U-A-N, I think is a symbol for them. But I have, in fact, EVI. If you go to the App Store, you can find basically the equivalent of Siri, although it is slightly different. But I really love that it does give you a lot of links that you can just tap on and directly go to the websites that but it turns out there's pluses or minuses. EV is not as fleshed out as Siri is already, but a very interesting app. In tech news, 25 Anonymous, that's the conglomerate of hackers, were arrested in a global Interpol sting, I think on Monday or Tuesday. They had one of the heads of Anonymous actually flip a year ago, and they wrote a Trojan that went in the software that these guys were handing around. Some people call them crime kits for stealing data off computers. Well, they actually put a Trojan in the Trojan software, and the people that are controlling it, there's like a control program so that you can run all these Trojans on people's computers that are infected. And that already had a virus in it that was sending all the data back to yet someone else. So there's no real honor among thieves with these folks, but they were actually letting a lot of other hackers pass this around, and if there was a credit card number that went through, it was automatically forwarded to one of these gentlemen, and they were able to track them all back through by actually rolling one gentleman almost a year ago. And actually, the funny thing was that it was actually published that he got busted, and no one in the anonymous community actually figured it out. And he continued to work in the underground and come up with another 25 that were arrested by Interpol just in the last couple of days. So very interesting. But I think FBI is finally getting on these folks. In a great article from MIT, they've come out with a way to make extremely efficient LED light bulbs. Actually, the idea behind this is as you decrease the amount of power you put into a LED, it starts to act almost like a heat pump. And in fact, at some real low power levels, it actually acts like a cooling agent and kind of like a heat pump. The idea here is if they could actually use a whole lot of small LEDs using very, very light power on it, that they may be able to get the efficiency up above what you would actually see, in theory, more than 100% efficiency in creating light would be, something that just unthinkable. But actually, these LEDs actually cool the room that they're in, and in some applications, they're thinking that these things may be actually, when you look at the heat that they don't dissipate, even compact fluorescence, these things might be 150% efficient just because of the amount of heat they suck out of a room when you're looking at them. So very, very interesting stuff going to be coming along probably a year down the line. But the idea is to use a lot of little LEDs, run at very low power to make extremely efficient bulbs. Going to be a pretty interesting idea. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. We'll be back in a minute.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the Rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market, Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to TFNN.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now.
folks, this is Tom O'Brien. If you want to get great trade setups in equity as well as the option market, come over to TFNN.com and test drive my daily newsletter, Market Insights, for 2 weeks absolutely free. Each trade setup comes with a profit projection as well as stop placement. Included in Market Insights is a Twitter alert service. This allows you to take advantage of intraday setups. Volatility is back in the markets. What does that mean to you? To me, it spells short-term opportunity each and every day. The days of trending up on lighter volume are gone. We have come off the highs with volume across the globe. Don't get caught in a complacency trap. Many of the indices have given back 2 months of trading in 1 week. We have a trader's market. You can take advantage of this trader's market by test driving my daily newsletter, Market Insights, free for 2 weeks. Market Insights will give you the edge you're looking for in the markets. Go to TFNN.com under newsletter. Hit the Market Insight tab for your 2-week free test drive right here, right now.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Smith Barney. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportion of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney believes that a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what asset allocation and a Morgan Stanley Smith Barney financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Certified Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to TFNN.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
This segment is brought to you by Direction Shares. To learn more about tactical tools for the sophisticated active investor, hit the Direction Shares banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, again, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. We'll discuss your stock. We're going to wrap up a little bit of news here. I'm probably going to fly through these things because I probably went a little long early in some of the other things I'm discussing. If you do want a link to any of the things I talk about, you can always email me at PATH, P-A-T-H, at TFNN.com. A lot of this stuff, especially if you're investing in it in technology, always good to be aware of. Most of these things have broad brush implications, so it's not something you want to trade on the moment, but it's always nice to think about looking forward a little bit. One of the other things that we noticed is why we can't trade on it a lot. I tend to be very interested in it, and that is how laws apply and our laws apply to, in the United States, apply to technology. One of the court cases that came out on Tuesday was that the Court of Appeals ruled that it is legal for police to search cell phones without a warrant. That means that literally if they catch you, they can find out if you were texting or emailing somebody or if you had an app. But literally, one of the few things that I can see that without any kind of actual probable cause, they can actually search anything you have. And in the ruling, the judge actually said that they had to get to the phone immediately because somebody could theoretically remotely erase data off the phone. And it seems to me awful far-fetched that you're going to have somebody in the weeds figuring out how to hack your phone and delete messages, your log off of it while they're waiting. They could easily turn the thing off and have somebody come back and get it later. But I think a lot of these judges get snowballed because they're so stupid and ignorant on technology that they don't understand that if they just turn the thing off, that you could go back with a card reader, put the thing in, and find everything they had if the judge found that there was some probable cause to search these things. Of course, it's an appeals court, so I'm pretty sure this thing's going to make its way to the Supreme Court. We can find, or hopefully find, with most of the judgments that we are finding from the Supreme Court on these technical laws, that they finally get enough people that are smart enough and explain how a lot of this stuff works to them. I just have a feeling that a lot of these guys that are on the circuit courts still probably stuck in the 70s and their old calculators. They really just don't understand it. One of the other things, the U.S. government says it can seize any .com domain. With the heavy hand of the U.S. government, which I thought after we got a new president would all be over, they've decided that they can control over the world's domain name infrastructure. Basically, if VeriSign was outside the United States, this probably wouldn't happen. But most notably, they've shut down a Canadian-based gambling site called Bodog.com on the grounds the site violates U.S. gambling laws. So literally, if you type in Bodog.com now, you won't go to their site. You could actually type in the IP address, and there's nothing that the system could do to keep you from going there. But a pretty ridiculous amount of power that our government is wielding without any judicial oversight continues to kind of amaze me in this idea that you would think the current political power, which has always been very pro, very anti-government control, pretty much looking the other way on all this stuff, especially like we saw in a lot of the other judicial judgments over the last few years. But luckily, most of these things are getting finally adjudicated at the Supreme Court. For the most part, I pretty much assume they're making, and the ones I've seen, they have made the right decision eventually. Dutch Telecom has the first 512 gigabit per second optical fiber. That means that you could literally have 350,000 people all listening to CDs coming through that fiber at once. The amount of data is really amazing. But that's going to mean that most of the fiber that we have out here is somewhere at anywhere from 1/10 to 100th the speed of those fibers. But probably going to look and see that we do have the ability, and especially over in Europe, they're going to very high-speed internet access, while here in the United States we continue to be crippled by a lot of telecom providers that are trying to figure out how they can throttle everything instead of actually get up to speed like Europe is. And a lot of, even China is actually getting very high-speed internet, while we kind of languish, and basically the telecom providers are telling us what we should live with and how they should throttle us. But they're certainly not doing it. But to give you an idea, they could make a cable thinner than a human hair that would give you 24.6 terabytes per second on that, basically cable the size of a human hair. So looking forward to a brighter future out there where we can be watching things like HDTV on an iPad, and they're not going to cost us an arm and a leg. But right now the telecom providers are more than happy to figure out how they can stick it to us. Chevy Volt manufacturing was actually stopped at Friday afternoon. I think this story came out on Saturday. In my Tech Insider article, I wrote actually about a company making battery technology that would actually pretty much put all these companies, including Tesla and making the Chevy Volt something of a relic already. 350 mile to 400 mile range is not out of the realm now with this new battery announcement in the company I covered in the Tech Insider on last Friday. Unfortunately, the Chevy Volt ran out of juice in the Lincoln or Holland Tunnel just a couple of weeks ago. While Chevy's doing a lot to talk about how great a product this is, and they paid some dubious magazine over in Europe to call it the car of the year, it suffers from a huge range problem running on electric itself. And like I said, this thing, I think, even all charged up, went less than 20 miles before it actually ran out of power in New York City. Certainly not one where you have the ability to get up to speed and run and really discharge the battery very long. But just running the air conditioning or the heat long enough was enough to run the thing out in less than 20 miles. It gives you an idea, but I suspect eventually we'll probably find that these companies, this is kind of like technology that failed, like some of the tablet computers that have come out over the last year and gone up against the iPad. They've been waiting for the technology, and it isn't the motor so much as the big batteries. And we're probably about less than 6 months, 3 to 6 months from seeing this new battery technology come out. And it would even allow you to get something like a Tesla that was looking at just to share, right around 300 miles with their new battery packs at $57,000. These new batteries are going to cost about half of what the existing batteries are, and basically gets up to that kind of range that everybody was looking at. In fact, the new Teslas, if they had this battery in it, would have something like 550, 580 mile ranges. And actually lop off about $15,000 of the price of the Tesla. So new battery technology is coming. I did cover that in last Friday's Tech Insider. You can always go to the front page of TFNN and check that out. But kind of strange that we're probably fairly close to coming out with technology that would make something like this actually useful. But the company that makes these batteries thinks that at a budget price, they could probably make, car companies could probably make a car that came in at under $20,000 that would have a range of 300 miles, which probably would do fairly well for a lot of people out there looking for cars. I'm going to wrap it up here with the hard drive shortage. We've talked a lot about it on the show. It looks like within the next 30 days, the production rate is going to be back up to about 140 million units. That was about 178 million units in the quarter before the flooding in Malaysia that caused all those problems. So we're probably going to be back up to about 80% in the next 2-3 weeks. We talked a little bit about this show, on the show, about the hard drive shortage and what it's caused. It looks like it's going to be May before we're back to 100%. But even then, it's probably going to be 98% or 95%. Probably going to take to the end of the summer to get back to 100%. I suspect we might continue to see a lot of action in SSD, that solid-state drive technology really come along. We saw the same thing in about 2004, 2005 in computer monitors that really made the difference. It was the tipping point where people started buying flat screens for their computers and home televisions. The prices really came down. But we're probably going to see hard drives come down a little bit. I would imagine maybe down 15%, and it's probably going to be May before they're back to 120% of their previous price, probably September before they're back to flat. And that means that you could buy a 500 gig hard drive. I did for about $39. I went back after about 4 weeks into the computer store. That same drive was about $120 at the local CompUSA. So you can see what the prices of that shortage did to any production out there. And lastly, and then we'll get into some stocks here, South by Southwest is a big annual music, film, and interactive conference and festival. It's in Austin. It starts the 9th. We may be hearing a little bit of tech news out of this. A lot of people are looking at this as kind of a new Burning Man kind of thing, where you have a lot of companies come and kind of try to influence a lot of the people in television and Hollywood. Most people don't know that South by Southwest got its big claim to fame by the Twitter people being there and showing Twitter off. Within about 4 weeks after South by Southwest, Twitter was the talk of all of Silicon Valley, where it couldn't get a peep of coverage before then. So I'll be covering that also in the Tech Insider, and maybe some new products coming out of it. Well, maybe we'll see some IPOs that are worth investing in. And let me see. Let's get to some stocks. I wanted to start looking at some stocks that we'd seen in the marketplace. The first one I want to cover today is Broadvision. I had this in my newsletter yesterday morning. If you were lucky enough to catch it, you had to be quick, and you probably didn't get a lot of shares. I ended up with I wanted to try to get 1,000 shares. When I shorted this yesterday, ended up getting about 200 shares. But one of these ones that was just absolutely perfect. When we look at it, what I'm watching is we had kind of a nice high on January 24th. It had 3.2 million shares. It had gone over this on on Friday on 1.3 million shares. So significantly lighter. In fact, this is the third higher high with lighter volume. February 7th, it got to $44.50 with 2.1 million shares. And this is what I really love. A false breakout. You saw it. We had a huge spike in the morning. You could see that they were running the shorts. If you were lucky enough to get a few hundred shares on this thing, a huge turnaround on the day on massive volume. Let me go back here and look at this just a little closer. In fact, let me get a little better view of it here for everybody at home. But I had this, and kind of intraday, this was one of these stocks that came out with supposed news, and that was it seems like a lot of these pump and dump companies are ripe for manipulation. In this case, there was a company that was dubious in nature. In fact, I can't find any actual internet link or find anything for the company. But they came out with this giant press release about Broadvision being this or that or the other. You could really see from reading the boards in this that it was one of these companies that was just hugely overblown and a pump and dump. And it didn't take anything more than a small article basically saying that they were way overpriced yesterday by a company that really didn't exist to blow this thing apart. But you could see them running early in the morning, even with as weak as the market was, driving the stock up to $56.46, down as low as $37.67. But one of the things on my daily newsletter is pointing these out early in the morning.
In the world of financial markets, there's a new player in town with an exciting new way to trade the markets. Nadex now offers binary options as well as bull spreads in a wide range of indices, along with commodity and Forex markets. With as little as $100, you can gain access to a new way to trade global financial markets while guaranteeing that your risk will always be capped. Nadex allows you to multiply your trading opportunities in ways never imagined before and access markets you once thought were out of reach. With short-term trading opportunities available, including binary options expiring each hour the market is open, Nadex allows you to take advantage of a variety of market conditions regardless of volatility or market direction. Now is the time to take advantage of this exciting new market. Don't let this trading opportunity pass you by. Open your account today by clicking on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Nadex, a better way to trade.
TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be at the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today, click Investment Newsletters, and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
At Tiger Metal Exchange, we pay you more for converting your jewelry to cash.
Let's go to Brian in New Jersey. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Hey, Tom, just want to let you know I did give you some jewelry. My jeweler offered me about $650, but you get a check in the mail tomorrow for about $1,200.
At Tiger Metal Exchange, it's all about honesty when converting your jewelry to cash.
Okay, let's go to Paul in Florida first. Hey, Paul, what's going on?
I want to commend you on the Tiger Metal Exchange. I just did a deal with you guys the other day.
Oh, good.
And very happy.
Well, I appreciate it. Now, Did you sell us jewelry or did you buy coins off us?
Yeah, I sold you jewelry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What we weighted at was less than you guys said, so, you're totally honest.
At Tiger Metal Exchange, we give you the tools to value your gold, and it's absolutely free. Call 866-618-8888 or log on to TigerMetalExchange.com. We've created the easiest, safest, and most honest cash for gold process. Tiger Metal Exchange. It's the only call you need to make.
Put the power of the Chapman Wave methodology to work for you. No matter what market you trade, what time frame you trade in, or your trading style, the Opening Call, Basil Chapman's daily market newsletter, is bursting with the information and trades you need to become a more successful trader.
I've been using Basil Chapman's Chapman Wave methodology for several years now. His Chapman Wave can be used for any time period for not only equities, but futures, currencies, commodities. I've been also a subscriber of his Opening Call, which I find an invaluable tool to help me analyze the potential of the market each day. He gives you opportunities to go short and long. It includes recommendations on stocks. I strongly recommend people using the Chapman Wave, and I very, very strongly support the use of his Opening Call.
To find out more about Basil Chapman and his Chapman Wave methodology, and to get your 2-week free trial of the Opening Call, a $64 value, visit TFNN.com today.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. Catch Tom O'Brien, founder and CEO of TFNN, professional trader and educator. Also a special guest on CNBC, analyzing the commodity markets. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're going to kind of whip through these in the last 4 minutes of the show here. A bunch of stocks I'd like to show. First one is Fifth Third Bancorp, because I kind of saw a little pattern out here in these regional banks. Didn't quite get to the low, but the January 20th low on Fifth Third Bank, which is FITB, $12.78 on January 28th. 31 million shares, got down to $12.88, but 13 million shares, and of course a nice little bounce out of this thing today. Pretty much got most of that candle out there. Had similar kind of patterns. I found several of them. I'll show you one more, and that's FNB Corporation. It's another regional bank out here. It had a January 27th low, $11.30, 32 cents, 2.1 million shares. Got into it with 730,000 shares yesterday. Of course, we're probably going to have a nice little bounce out of that. We did today. So we had a few of these stocks. Another one was Huntington Bank Shares. Same kind of thing, kind of a false breakout, breakdown yesterday, back into the trading range again today. It had a January 20th low, 31 million shares at $5.63. Blew through that yesterday, closed below it, but popped right back up into the trading range today with, what was that? 31 million shares to 17 million shares yesterday. Kind of seeing this in a lot of market sectors. A lot of the big stocks, Caterpillar, those kind of doll stocks, pretty much look like they've had their top. They're going to have to consolidate out. But a lot of small cap stocks look like they've made some bottoms. And even these banks look like they're testing previous lows on lighter volume. Even I've been fairly bearish on the the housing stocks here lately. Actually found a nice little low in Ryland yesterday, RYL. We look at the January 27th low, 1684, 3.2 million shares. Got into it with half that, 1.5 million shares. Did go below it. We've closed and will close about back above it. So it looks like there are some stocks finding some very nice support out here. Even some bigger stocks like Unisys Corporation, UIS is a symbol on that. We see some of these that kind of out of favor stocks, but also finding, and big cap stocks, finding volumes with very light lows. February 2nd low on Unisys was $17.69, 5.2 million shares. Got into it with 600,000 shares yesterday. And I'm not saying this thing's going to take off because it is kind of a dog. But even when the dogs won't bark, there's something you probably should be watching about it. I know Tom's been talking a lot about the dry dry ships kind of companies out there, the shippers. Fairly interesting. The low in this gap for dry ships, DRYS, 309, 26 million shares on February 23rd. It's come back in that. Came in with 10 million shares yesterday, making a little doji here, so we probably want to watch it. But a lot of these coming back, as Tom's been talking about, back to these areas where it would be very interesting. The other thing is I've seen a couple of gold companies. See if I can find it here. Maybe they're not in here. GBX, that was the one. No, that's not. HNB, let me see if I can remember the stock here. Well, we're out of time anyway. I'm going to close up the day with one last stock, which is GBX. They make Greenbrier Companies, GBX, make rail cars. They make a lot of specialized rail cars. Very interesting, but give you an idea, a lot of these things are back to these gaps that they've seen many times before, lighter volume. Seeing that in the whole market, I suspect we've got a low for expiration